Let me assure you that Excellency John Dramani Mahama will reset pensions with the revision of Acts.
Vibrant Media, be heavily minded and ethically conscious.
Privilege to introduce to you the President of the Republic, President John Dramani, to address NAT's 50th Quadrennial Congress. I thank you all.
Thank you very much. Let me thank our elder statesman and chairman of this occasion for the motivational speech that he gave us at the beginning of this event, and to acknowledge the Minister of Education and the Deputy Minister, also the Minister for Labour, Jobs and Employment, and our keynote speaker, Professor Katie Odro, who's the technical advisor to the Minister, to also acknowledge Professor Franklin Boateng, former Minister of State and renowned cardiothoracic specialist, National President and Executives of NAT, Executive of TUC, my comrade Joshua, and his team, delegates and members of NAT, stakeholders from the education sector, our friends from the media, and the invited guests. Before I go into my speech itself, I will just make a few comments based on the demands that were made by my comrade. He read the speech and he acknowledged all the good, positive things. Then when he got there, he said, "And now we demand." And I said, he's gone into the union mode. But we're comrades, so we understand when the Chogoi message starts coming. But I mean, very legitimate issues that he raised. I remember that the single spine was introduced by the President Kufuor government. Negotiations had taken place, and it had not been concluded when Professor Mills won, and I came in as Vice President. And just before the Kufuor administration left office, they threw a lump sum increment and dumped the single spine on us. But Comrade Joshua and all his colleagues, Professor Bai and all of them, Dr. Bai and all of them, decided that they said, no, we're not going to accept it, we'll negotiate with the new government. And so it took quite a while for the negotiations to take place. But eventually, we managed to get a spine that was working. It was not exactly straight, a bit crooked, but at least everybody got something, you know. And so we started paying the arrears and all that, and we managed to get through all that before we left office in 2016. Since then, a few things have happened. The spine is very crooked now, and everybody is unhappy. Everybody is unhappy with the spine. And so, of course, TUC raised it with us and asked if we could look at the whole salary structure again. And I can say that we're very willing to do that, so that we're able to remunerate people better, so that they can give off their best in terms of the President also raised the issue of dedicated funding for basic education. I think it's very important. Currently, we have earmarked funding in the GET fund for senior high school, and so it looks like senior high school has funding available and ready whenever it's needed. Unfortunately, basic is not the same. Capitation grant has been in arrears for several quarters, and so teaching and learning at the basic level is suffering. And it is exactly at that level that critical learning takes place, at least in literacy, numeracy, and critical thinking, and that prepares the child for subsequent education in secondary and tertiary. And so if we miss that stage, the children come out of the BECE And when they come into secondary school and other tertiary education institutions, the material is just impossible to work with, because the basic understanding has been missed at the basic level. And so it's something that we need to think through together. Later in my speech, I'll address a few things about foundational learning. And so we need to look at that critically again. A few years ago, we did a new pension reform. Everybody was happy, tier 2, tier 3. It looks like the time has come for us to look at it again. And so again, TUC, as the leader of organized labor, raised it with us. And I told Comrade Joshua and his team that we're prepared to put together a working team to look at the whole pension reform and come up with some suggestions and see how we can improve it so that everybody is happy and feels secure going into retirement. And a safe and secure working environment is a must. Indeed, I saw that video of I think it was a maths teacher being beaten because when he was invigilating, he refused to allow our children to cheat. And they had a sense of entitlement. And so why did you not allow us to cheat? And the unfortunate thing is that the matter went to the police station, and the parents of the students went to the police, and they said they settled the matter amicably. I mean, how is that? This is assault, it's criminal, But when we inquired, the police also said, I think the teacher was compensated, so he didn't want to press charges anymore. But I said, at least the children should have been booked, they should have been taken through the legal process, and at least, if nothing at all, they should have been bonded to be of good behavior for a period of time. And then we believe that justice has been done. But just for parents to come and, pay a little compensation, it will encourage others to do the same. And so, as for assaults on teachers, I am with you 100%. We will deal with it. And so, it's a singular honor for me to address this distinguished gathering at the 54th National Delegate Conference of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, convened under the timely and forward-looking theme, Education and Development, the GAS at 50, reflecting, reviewing, revising, and growing the profession and the unions. This theme is both historic and strategic because it invites us to reflect on 5 decades of service by the Ghana Education Service, while challenging us to review what has worked and revise what must change, and boldly grow the teaching profession and organized labor to respond to the demands of a rapidly evolving world. Education has always been the most reliable engine of national development. Every political, social, and economic milestone Ghana has achieved carries the fingerprints of teachers. Behind every doctor, every engineer, every entrepreneur, public servant, president, like myself, stands a teacher who believed, guided, corrected, and inspired us to be who we are. Indeed, a good student is the function of a good teacher. And that is why this government places teacher welfare, professionalism, and dignity at the center of our national education strategy. This commitment is not rhetorical, it is deliberate, and will budget for it. In the 2025 budget, the government paid millions of cedis in teacher training allowances. We restored promotion eligibility up to the rank of director and placed over 30,000 diploma teachers who upgraded to degree status onto the appropriate salary scale. In addition, we are developing the modalities for implementing the 20% base pay incentive for teachers who work in deprived and hard-to-reach areas. Ladies and gentlemen, these are not acts of charity. They are strategic investments in quality education and national transformation. Teachers, through their unions, have also demonstrated foresight and responsibility. Today, the Ghana National Association of Teachers is recognized as the most progressive and forward-thinking trade unions in Ghana. Beyond advocacy advocacy for teachers' rights and teacher welfare, NAT has built strong economic institutions that secure the future of its members. The Teachers Fund is widely recognized as one of the best managed workers' funds in the country. It is grounded in transparency, prudence, and long-term value creation for its members. And once again, on your behalf, we extend our appreciation to Uncle Kwame P.N.M. for being the father of the Teachers Fund. Through the Teachers Fund's properties and Teachers Fund financial services, NAT has demonstrated that organized labor can combine solidarity with enterprise. Most notably, NAT's strategic investment in Aviance Ghana, a major ground handling service provider at our international airport, shows that unions can be active players in strategic sectors of the national economy. This is a powerful example of how unionism, enterprise, and national development can reinforce one another. I need not mention the several hostels NAT has built, including your imposing national headquarters with one of the few multi-story car parks in Accra City. There are further opportunities that NAT has taken advantage of, which is the Ghana-Sweden Medical Center that was mentioned here. And I see opportunities for us to create a partnership under the Ghana Medical Trust Fund. The Ghana Medical Trust Fund is going to diagnose and treat non-communicable diseases. And so the Ghana-Sweden Cancer Center is going to be a partner to the Ghana Medical Trust Fund in treating non-communicable diseases, cancers and others. We also are looking to partner with the Ghana National Association of Teachers in the area of housing. And I remember the last time I met with the President, Uncle Kwame P.N.M. and the team from NAT. I promised you that in the budget, we're going to make available a lump sum and coordinate with NAT, and I think you are accompanied by Republic Bank to start a housing scheme for teachers. And so this year, the Minister of Finance has put 500 million cedis in the budget. That money is going to be paid into a housing fund, a revolving fund. NAT will put some money in, Republic Bank will put some money in, and teachers would apply, and the houses will be built in the area that you want the house to be built. And if by coincidence the house is in your area of posting, then the money you would have paid as rent to some landlord will go to paying the cost of your own house, so that when you retire, you won't go to your grandfather's house and say, this was my grandfather's home, and go fighting with your relatives. And so we're going to work out the modalities of the housing fund. This year we're putting 500. Next year we're going to put 1 billion cedis in that housing fund. Ladies and gentlemen, it is appropriate for government to deepen its partnership with NAT further. And I'm pleased to inform you that government is actively exploring arrangements to make suitable lands available to assist the housing project that I just talked about. We're going to ask all the districts to provide land so that we can implement this housing project. This collaboration is aimed at improving the teachers' living standards, strengthening teacher retention, particularly in rural areas, and ensuring that those who educate the nation live with dignity and security. Distinguished delegates, we must admit that our educational system faces a severe crisis. Basic level education has been neglected over the past few years. A lack of teaching and learning materials, including basic textbooks, non-payment of capitation grants, poor teacher retraining and quality, inadequate school infrastructure have resulted in a situation where students graduate from the basic level with weak skills in numeracy, literacy, and critical thinking. We must therefore strengthen foundational learning in our basic schools to achieve better outcomes in later years of study at the secondary and tertiary levels. The National Education Consultative Forum held in Ho in February last year, discussed many of these challenges and set them out in its final report. Government intends to implement the recommendations outlined in the report over the next 3 years. While the free senior high school policy has expanded access, we must be honest, access without quality is incomplete progress. The double track system, though a temporary response to capacity constraints, has reduced teacher contact hours and strained teachers and both teachers and infrastructure. We're therefore taking decisive action. The 2026 budget marks a clear turning point. The government is committing substantial resources to upgrading 30 Category C SHS schools to Category B schools. We're also expanding facilities in Category B and Category A schools in order that they have adequate space for more children. We're also completing 30 abandoned E-blocks all over the country to increase capacity in secondary schools, including building new community day schools, E-blocks, in high-density population areas so that students can live at home and easily get to school. These will be high-quality schools, but the children, because they are in the urban population, do not need to go and stay on campus. They can commute to school every day and they'll still get their one hot meal in the afternoon. We're also constructing 200 kindergartens, 200 primary schools, and 200 junior high schools in all districts of the country. This is from the government of Ghana budget. There's also a budget that the district assemblies have, and they are supposed to build 2 senior high schools, 2 basic schools every year, including kindergartens. And so this is from the Ministry of Education budget, but there's also a budget for the District Assembly's Common Fund. And then under the Teacher Dabre, we are building 400 4-unit teacher bungalows nationwide. This is a start. And these are going to be built especially in the rural areas, so that teachers who are posted in the rural areas at least can find a place to lay their heads. This is just a beginning. We're going to increase the numbers over the next few years so that every teacher can get a place to stay and give off their best in their schools. In addition, millions of curriculum-based textbooks are going to be distributed, and schools and educational directorates will receive buses, pickup trucks, and administrative vehicles. Indeed, the procurement of the vehicles is beginning. There are 200 buses for secondary schools and other schools, and then pickups for headmasters and the administrations to be able to carry out their duties. This will strengthen teaching, supervision, and accountability. In addition, we're procuring 2 million steel dual desks. We want to permanently end the pitiful sight of children sitting on stones or lying on their stomachs to read or write, especially in rural schools. And we estimate that about 2 million steel dual desks will make sure that every Ghanaian child in every school will have a desk to be able to sit on in dignity and write or read. In 2025 alone, the free SHS program received 3.5 billion Ghana cedis under the GET Fund. This has been the highest allocation since its inception, and this has strengthened logistics, feeding, and learning conditions in our secondary schools. I'm pleased to announce that about 100 double-track schools have already reverted to single-track. And the government remains firmly committed to abolishing the double-track system entirely through a focused 2-year intervention, which we call the Ghana Secondary Learning Improvement Project, GSLIP. This project will improve access and quality and restore full-time schooling for all students. And so this year and next year are the implementation years. And by the time we finish implementation, there will be no secondary school implementing double track in this country. We've all been shocked by the poor outcome of the last WASI. There has been a culture of silence surrounding the widespread cheating in our exam halls across the country. Heads of schools who are required to provide a performance bond to achieve a 100% pass rate have either looked on or turned a blind eye to examination malpractices. All this has been done to embellish the performance of certain batches of SHS graduates to make some people look good. Well, the chickens have come home to roost. This shows that choosing expediency over effectiveness can only be a temporary veneer and will eventually be exposed. Cheating in exams is corruption, and it is sad to encourage our children to be corrupt at such an early stage in their lives. Ethical integrity is key to their future. We will not give up strict invigilation, and therefore we must implement the reforms that equip our students to be able to enter the exam hall with confidence and pass their exams through diligent study and schoolwork rather than by cheating. And I pledge that we will work with you, the teachers' associations, to make sure that we're able to achieve these reforms. At the tertiary level, there are several initiatives being implemented. Our No Fee Stress initiative have removed financial barriers for first-year students. Of the 178,745 who were enrolled this year, 152,698 were successfully validated and reimbursed by the Student Loan Trust Fund. Parliament has also passed the Scholarship Authority Bill, and this reform will end cronyism and political interference in the award of scholarships. It will promote transparency and fairness, and it will align scholarships with Ghana's national skills and development priorities. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, we've emerged from a period of severe economic crisis. Our economy has severely been buffeted by a debt crisis and macroeconomic instability, which is characterized by high inflation and a weakening currency. While prudent management of the economy has yielded positive results, there's still much work to do. We've increased educational spending in 2026 by 10% over the 2025 levels. And yet still this amounts to 3.1% of GDP. And this falls short of the minimum 4% recommended by UNESCO. We'll continue to increase education spending over the next 3 years to meet the UNESCO target. However, every cedi allocated to education must be spent efficiently in order that we realize the full value of our investment. And one of the ways we want to increase educational funding is the Constitution says that the District Assembly's Common Fund should be between 5% and 8% of gross national revenues. During the last government, they reduced it from 7.5% at the end of 2016 to 5%. And so it's our intention to increase it by 1% every year over the next 3 years so that we can build it back to the 7.5 or 8%. Now I want to allocate that extra 3% that goes to the district assemblies to the education and health sectors. And once we do that, we'll be able to hit the UNESCO target of 4% dedicated funding for the education sector. We've emerged from a dark period of oppression in our educational sector. Many school heads were sacked or transferred for speaking up when things were not going well. And yet the best way to grow our education sector is through transparency, freedom of speech, and even criticism where necessary. As President, I can assure you that I'll protect your right to speak up and to point out when things are not going well. My comrades and friends, as we mark 50 years of the Ghana Education Service, Let us recommit to a renewed partnership between government, teachers, and organized labor. The future of education in Ghana will not be built on budgets alone, but on trust, dialogue, professionalism, and shared responsibility. I wish the Ghana National Association of Teachers a successful conference and look forward to the resolutions that will shape the next chapter of our education delivery, teacher professionalism, and unionism in our country. God bless Ghana's teachers, and God bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you.
Round of applause for our President, for the Federal Republic of Ghana. So, President, we are grateful for the wonderful meeting. National anthem.
There are three things I wanted to bring to His Excellency's attention. As I said, if you climb a good tree, then you need a helping hand. The first is the cancer treatment center that we are building. When Ghanaians took over the land, immediately the developers and the land grabbers moved in to try to take over the land. The land originally acquired took into consideration the fact that with cancer treatment, some of them is radioactive, and therefore the walls are very thick to prevent leaking, any radioactive leaking into the community. And people are developing housing very too close. So one of the support we want from Your Excellency's government is to please encourage the Minister for Lands, the Greater Accra Lands Commission, and the Environmental Protection Authority to make sure that they secure the place for us, so that we are here to cure cancer, not to cause it. The second point we wanted to bring to you, and it's already been highlighted, the keynote speaker and the Honorable Minister and you yourself have said that it relates to your resetting agenda. The compensation of teachers is important, and therefore the resetting agenda, make sure that when you make the structures, the equivalent of a teacher to any other profession, there should be a 20% premium for the teachers.
So that you can pay more.
Media. Please subscribe to my channel for more updates.